Good morning. I'm just answering. My aunt had a question or a statement, and I think it's so pivotal, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that just stirred a lot. I'm like the Forrest Gump of die to self message, and I believe that Paul and Jesus both, over and over and over again, were hammering that same message of it. What it's about. It's Paul talks about in Galatians 2:20. He said, "For I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me." Right? And what Paul had done is he incorporated religion into his life, but he really never got to the point of having a relationship with God and a submitted life to God. And Jesus over and over and over again teaches, the one who tries to hold on to his life will lose it, but the one who lays down his life for my sake and the gospel will find it. I think it's so pivotal for Christian freedom, right? He teaches in 2 Timothy, it says, "For in the last days there will be a form of godliness, but will deny the power." Because think about that. If you incorporate Jesus into your life, and there's a lot of messages that's what it's about. Christian bookstores are filled with self-help books, right? That is not what the gospel is teaching. It's teaching to lay down your self-life and it being about God through your life rather than it being about you at the center, right? And that's why the message is not an easy message, and the majority of people don't like that message. We'd rather incorporate him into our life and us still stay on the throne. Right? But that's not where the freedom comes in. That's not where the power comes in. That's not where transformation comes in. There's beauty in it not being about you at the center. Now all of a sudden anxiety, fear, all that stuff can slip away because it's not you at the core. It's not you at the center. That's why Paul could have peace in any and all situations, even being chained to a guard in prison. He was writing about joy and peace and contentment, because he wasn't on the throne of his heart. Christ was, right? And that's what this whole thing's about. And that's why I'm like I said, the Forrest Gump of the die to self message, because it's so pivotal to Christian freedom. Instead of it being about incorporating Jesus into our life, at the center, at the core of our belief is a self-sacrificing Savior on our behalf. So then that's what we become. We die to ourselves in order to experience the fullness of life that God created us to live. And that's through his lenses. That's through us being submitted to him, a submitted life, not an incorporated life, right? Jesus Incorporated is just self-help with a choir robe on, right? And rather than it being just submitting your life back to God. And I was thinking of, Jesus. I was thinking of the rich young ruler, because the rich young ruler did all the things for God, incorporating into his life, right, for his best interest, right? But in the end, it really was about he didn't want to submit his life to God, so that's why he walked away sad, because he didn't want to give up what really was God in his life, which was his money and his power. But he wants to be at the center of your life. Now all of a sudden fear and anxiety and all that stuff can slip away from you because you're not at the center. So anyway, I pray that it resonates, and I only preach out of a life lived out of my own brokenness and trying to incorporate Jesus into my life, and it was empty and dead. You get burned out rather than it being full of life and being able to love unconditionally. I think is the most beautiful gift that is given to someone that submits their life. They're set free from themselves. Now all of a sudden they're able, wherever they go, they get to be the fragrance of God's love. Now you just get to carry that wherever you go, and that is beautiful. And that's the fruit of the Spirit that comes in through a submitted life. I incorporated Jesus into my life when I first came in my faith, and I didn't have that peace, the peace of God. I had peace with God because I asked him into my life, but it wasn't the peace of God. May you experience the peace of God today. God bless y'all.